What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be reading your hot takes from one of my community posts I made earlier. You guys could have blew it up. We have like over 300 comments at this point. So if you're interested in that, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell so you don't miss any of my community posts because I'm going to be making more like these. Let's get into the video. All right. Today, I'm going to be going through your absolute worst metal takes, and I'm going to be roasting the shit out of you guys. So, let's get on with it. I made a community post a few days ago. Without further ado, let's get on with it here. I've read some of these, and I've liked some of them, but I'm just going to be coming up by what comes first. Sorry, you'll have to excuse my eyesight here. I can't read, so I'm just going to zoom in, make it a little easier for you guys to read. So, Drake Johnson, 6869, says, Dave, one of the best singers of all time. I assume you mean Dave Mustaine? I have a couple thoughts on this for sure. I have a few thoughts on this. Dave Mustaine's a pretty good singer. That does not mean he doesn't have the times where his voice is absolutely awful, but he also has some times where his voice is really good. And let me pull up one of those ones where I think it's really good. Gotta go for the unremastered version. If you know, you know. Yeah, Bloody Hero is one of my favorite songs of all time, but right at the end, I think is one of the best singing parts in any Megadeth song. Right here. I would say that's at least good. Maybe not one of the best singers of all time, but good. I'm gonna give you definitely a mid-take. Megadeth's covers of These Boots and I Ain't Superstitious are awesome songs. And that is said by Dirty and the Secret Sauce Man, 8519. What is on this guy's channel? Let's see. No, I'm Dirty Dan. Oh, Dirty Dan, the Secret Sauce Man, excuse me. I don't know. I really don't like these songs. Let's look it up here. No, these songs suck. L-Take, they kind of ruin the flow of both Peace Cells and Killing Is My Business. Don't like them, don't need them. Anarchy in the UK, also not a great track. Most Megadeth cover songs aren't really that good, to be completely honest. Yeah, L-Take. Sorry, Dirty Dan. The Bizkit was never limp.
Bro, what the fuck?
The Biscuit was definitely always limp, my friend. Whatever you are implying there, we'll just leave it there. Beyonce should do a duet with Alex Terrible from Lauren Fazenbaker 9777. Yeah, I actually think this would be really, really interesting. You get one of the biggest pop stars of all time to do a duet with Alex Terrible. It has to be one of the biggest personalities in metal right now. New personalities, of course. Like older guys, maybe a bit more, but I think that'd be cool. That's a W take. Never happened though. It's another guy. Dave Mustaine's vocals aren't bad. Okay, all these are gonna be lumped into the same one. We just went through it. This is definitely, I'm gonna give it like a medium take. It's neither good nor bad. It was another good Megadeth vocal performance. It's turning out to Megadeth. I know I make content about it. Megadeth, what's another really good one I like? I find his singing on this track here, Time in the Beginning, to be really good as well. There is, of course, some sort of effect on his vocals here. Some sort of flanger or something, chorus. Great stuff. Really like it. Time taking time. It's taking mine. Yeah, you know what? He's definitely a decent singer. Not the worst, not the best. Definitely an acquired taste. Alright, Butt Rock Metallica has some legit bangers. I assume by Butt Rock Metallica you're talking about Load and Reload. Go see my video on Megadeth versus Metallica if you want to hear my thoughts on that. But there are a couple good songs on Load and Reload, but for the most part, I'm not a big fan. And I really tried to go in and like these videos. The Unforgiven 2, I will say, is an absolute banger. Oh, I didn't even know there was a music video for this. This is such a late 90s video, bro. Like, look at this. You got a kiss on your wall next to the window. This is a banger. I can't deny it. I don't know. The rest of them aren't very good. You know what? Mid-take. That's a mid-take. Neither hot nor cold. Tepid. Tepid take. No matter what other types of music you're into, you are 100% metal if you own just one Bolt Thrower album. Yes, I agree. W take. I think our first W take here so far. Let's go. Let's go. Give it up for Fan of All Metal here, everybody. First W take. I would go and show you my copy of Those Once Loyal on vinyl, but unfortunately it's at my parents' house. Yeah, W take. Love Bolt Thrower. Go see my video on that. Ex-Hoarders, The Law has the heaviest guitar tone. Okay, interesting. From Jake Zilla Official. It's an interesting channel. You got a Seffi Jake Zilla here? Is Buddy just posting? He was fucking posting. He was posting full songs. Are you doing these yourself, my man? It's kind of cool at the very least. Sorry, I'm not trying to roast you here. Full album remastered? Let's see. Alright, let's skip, let's see. Where is The Day That Never Comes? Let's just hear a part of that. I don't know. That sounds pretty good. Yeah, you sort of got rid of a lot of the clippiness there, but it's still there. Good job. I'll give you a like. Anyways, back to your take. Ex-Horrors, The Law has the heaviest guitar tone. Let's look this up. Let's see if you're correct here, Jake Zilla. That is certainly a very heavy guitar tone. Like, you know, you sort of talk about like the sort of like the Swedish chainsaw kind of guitar tone. We have Pantera at home. I'm sorry. You know what? This is not bad. You know, it could be better. I think the heaviest guitar tone of all time is on The Sound of Perseverance, but of course I'm just a huge Death fanboy, so you know what? This is definitely not bad. Not the greatest. I'll give it a mid take. That's mid for sure. Maybe sort of the heaviest guitar tone, but that's like, it's like a death metal guitar tone used in sort of like a groove metal Pantera sense. It's kind of cool. You know what? I don't agree, but it is very good. Enough with bands that tune down. I want to hear bands that tune up. Interesting. Kind of agree. You know, we've sort of gotten to the point where low-tuned guitars have gotten pretty much like as low as possible, right? You got like 8-string, 9-string guitars, people playing bass tunings essentially. I'm pretty sure there are a few bands, like if I remember, I think the band Airborne, you know, that like AC/DC kind of rip-off band, I think they tuned to like F, or maybe an F sharp standard. This guy says Vector. Now does Vector tune up? I'm not, do they? Vector, terminal.
Nice approach.
Oh, I guess they tune up to F, so they tune up 1/2 step. You know, I listened to this album like way back when it first came out. I thought it was really good. Did not realize it was tuned up to F though. And very interesting. Let's just take a look. Listen here really quick. Yeah, I agree. You know what? In addition to this, I would like to see more open tunings being used in metal. You know, give me like the My Sacrifice tuning. You know, D5, D, D. You know what I mean? Give me this. Hard agree. W take on this one. Let's get a little bit more creative. You know, the bass is an instrument. Leave room for the bass. W take. Good job. Eric V7788. Metal owes a lot to metalcore for helping to keep it relevant and accessible. And this was said by Ghost in the Attic Official 1289. 34 likes, and yeah, I definitely agree. You know, just the fact that Metal Archives refuses to list any metalcore as metal is just completely ridiculous to me. But yeah, I mean, like, what are you gonna listen to thrash metal bands for the rest of your life? Like death metal, 80s, 90s stuff? Like, metalcore, despite its many flaws, which you could see at my video on fixing metalcore, is definitely the genre that keeps bringing in the most sort of new influences to everything, right? What other genres bringing in like trap drums, you know, more synths, everything like that, like thrash and everything like that is still stuck in the 80s and 90s essentially, and of course there's nothing wrong with that. You just need to have variety in it. And this guy, I totally agree. W take. Great job. 100% agree with that. Nickelback is just a modern day version of AC/DC by Augustus Sleeps. Now, what do you mean by that? You mean sort of like a party rock and roll band, or are you talking more musically? Because to be honest, I like Nickelback a lot more than AC/DC. I absolutely love Nickelback's Silver Side Up album. Absolutely incredible stuff. They're playing some pretty low tunings here. Like, this is a great track here. Yeah, good stuff. Oh yeah. Love Silver Side Up. Yeah, unironically, maybe one of my favorite albums of all time. A lot of nostalgia baked into that too. Yeah, you know, AC/DC is one of these bands where the radio has completely beaten the songs to death, despite the fact that a lot of these songs are great, and I can't deny that they're good songs. I just don't ever really want to hear them again, besides Right On by AC/DC. That is a wonderful track. Yeah, W Take. Death doesn't have a bad album, it all depends on your mood. W, big W Take, of course. You know me, big Death fan. This is said by Luan Live. Yeah, W Take for sure. I 100% agree. First 3 Death records are mid. They're becoming a special band with Human and later albums. You know, I kind of agree. If, let's say, these 3 Death albums were released in like the 2000s, maybe, you know, this style would have been played out. But the fact that they were sort of fundamental in the formation of death metal, I think, gives it that sort of extra historical credibility, if that makes any sense to you. Everything Metallica did in the 80s gives them the pass for everything they've done after. Maybe. You know, no. Actually, no. You know, this is a good one. If you release some masterpiece fundamental albums to a genre, does it give you free pass to release garbage afterwards? No. You know, I know that you get successful, you get, you know, filled with yes men, you know, you get sort of complex that, you know, everything you write is good, and as you get older, right, things change, but I don't really think there is any excuse for Load and Reload, especially when you release Reload, you know, a year or so after Load, where you already had fan feedback. L Take, no. Does not excuse it. I mean, L take. Sorry, Artemis Kane, but that is an L take. New metal saved metal music after being on life support during the 90s and served as a gateway to other genres. You know what? I probably agree. In terms of sort of mainstream popularity, I would definitely agree. It's not to say there wasn't a ton of great metal sort of hanging out and coming out in the late 90s, right? You know, Melodeath was becoming huge. You know, 97, you had Something Wild by Chernobodum. You know, I think Clayman came out that year, or 99, or was that 2000? Horacle, I think, was 97. You know, Sound of Perseverance, late 90s too. So metal was still definitely alive and well, but new metal definitely brought it back into the attention of the mainstream. I'm gonna say that is a pretty W take, to be honest. Disconnect is an underrated Megadeth song. I absolutely agree. This is a W take. 100%. I love Disconnect. I think that's the best song off The World Needs a Hero for sure. What? Maybe not the best. Yeah, Disconnect has some great riffs, some cool lyrics. Production's okay. Good track, you know. Yeah, it's got a cool bridge. Definitely one of the most underrated Megadeth songs. At least one that I never hear almost anybody else talk about. And this is one of the songs that I've liked for a long time. Yeah, W take for sure. Good job. Good job, Danger Powers 4582. Medzik 68910 says, next Death album would have blown our minds and kicked our asses so bad. I tend to agree. Chuck Schuldiner sort of reaching, well, obviously he died when he was like 34 or something, I think, right? So that's sort of right when you're in your, you know, peak of masculinity, especially if you took care of yourself and, you know, were sober and had it surrounded by great musicians, which Chuck was. During this our timeline, sort of death sort of ended at Sound of Perseverance, right? And of course he would sadly pass away a few years later. But if that doesn't happen, maybe Chuck would have revisited death, you know, maybe in like the mid 2000s, sort of when the popularity of death metal and melodic death metal sort of came back into prominence with, you know, like all the metalcore bands and stuff. So it definitely would have been very interesting to see what he would have brought to the table. All the albums seem to be like progression, right? So it would have been very interesting. And of course, I would have loved to hear it, and I definitely agree. Probably would have blown our minds. It sort of seemed like an upward trajectory for all of the Death albums in terms of how good they are, at least in my opinion. So I think that would have been crazy and would have been very, very cool to see what he could have done. You know, yeah, W take for sure. Mubs8965 says here, yeah, all breakdowns sound the same, but it's a good sound. All steak tastes the same, but it's a good taste. Just don't eat steak for dinner every day and you won't get tired of it. You know what? This is a very, very good take. Definitely agree. Gonna hit you with that W, brother. The people you hear saying that all breakdowns sound the same and that a breakdown, you know, is pointless because you just get played over and over again, well then go listen to the same 80s thrash metal bands play the same open palm muted E string chugging riff over and over again. So definitely agree with this. You do a whole lot of cool things with breakdowns. The rhythmic elements to it, you know, with the combined drums with the bass and the guitars. Everyone knows it's a great syncopated rhythms. Everybody knows that's a great sound. It can be used a lot. That being said, do not write your songs solely with breakdowns. Like, unless your name is The River by Wage War, just don't do it, you know. A breakdown should be used to break down a song, right? Use it sparingly and use it intelligently. Don't just make your whole songs breakdowns. And I think that's what a lot of people don't really like, is when an entire song is just like open, you know, power, you know, drop D, chugging, tuning. Just be a little bit more careful with your breakdowns and how you use it. If you're writing your own music, of course. All the stuff that's out, you can't really do anything about it. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, W take for sure. Thomas Daly, 1488, says, Bullets by Creed is the hardest metal song of all time. Okay. What is this music video? I've never seen this music video. I've heard the song, have not seen this music video. Bro, what the fuck? Dude, what the fuck? Is that Scott Stapp as a fairy? Dude, oh, dude, what is going on here? Bro, what? It's like Morrowind spec graphics, bro. Dude, what is going on in this video? Oh my god. That is certainly something for sure, that music video. But yeah, I agree, the song slaps. Mark Tremonti writes great metal riffs, like if you listen Alter Bridge, there's a lot of great metal stuff. That's probably the most metal Creed gets. Yeah, good. W take. I like Bullets by Creed. That music video is absolutely ridiculous though. Wow. Alright. The Saint Anger snare is different and interesting. I agree, but to a point. The sound is good. The mixing is not very good. It could have been done a little bit better. If you just tune the volume just a little bit down on the snare, it would have been much better. And if the drumming was done a little bit differently. Lars, he loved to use these sort of double time snare hits, and that just really like drags it home. Yeah, I'm gonna give this like a medium take. I kind of agree, kind of don't. The sound of the snare itself is interesting. The usage, mixing, and playing of it, however, is not. Mid-take. 90s were the absolute peak for metal, while the 80s were the peak for thrash, specifically, and birth of subgenres. Yeah. I guess, you know, obviously I agree with the 80s thrash metal sense, right? Well, Rest in Peace was released in 1990, but close enough. You know, the more I think about it, the more lots of my favorite albums were from the 90s. Right, Hate Breeder, I think was from 99. Sound of Perseverance, 98. Symbolic, 95. Rapture, or Covenant, 93. Actually, no, I think the 2000s are the best. No, I disagree. L take. Our boy Hounds Gentlow says, Sleep Token are basically just Sam Smith gent. Yeah, you know, I kind of agree with this. I was talking with some of my buddies in my other band today, or on the weekend, and it was sort of explaining to me, like, most bands sort of play a subgenre of metal, but incorporate pop, you know, and more mainstream influences into that, right? Whereas Sleep Token, I was arguing to them, is like a pop, you know, pop act, pop mainstream, whatever you want to call it, right? You know what, it's sort of like the more poppy sound, you have the trap drums, you know, EDM kind of production, it's sort of all kind of blending it together. However, they're taking metal and inputting it into pop. It's like different. Instead of, you know, metal with pop, it's pop with metal. Specifically sort of the genty, super low tuned, you know, heavy, super low tuned guitars kind of sound. And that's what I mean. So I definitely agree with him in that sense, if that is what he means. And that's not any shade at Sleep Token. I love that album. Great stuff. But yeah, they're pop with metal, not metal with pop, if that makes any sense. I'm going to give you a W take, because I'm just going to pretend that that is what you meant. Some gatekeeping is necessary. Yeah, you know, I definitely have a lot of thoughts on this. You know, you can't gatekeep people into not liking anything. But you know what, actually, How can you even gatekeep shit anymore? Like, what does gatekeeping even mean? You're just telling people not to listen. Nothing matters like this. I don't care. Enough. If trap metal evolves, it will get more respect. I kind of agree with this, although the trap sound is sort of getting a little bit played out, in my opinion. You know, it's sort of been around for nearly like 10 years at this point. So I think trap will sort of be dying out, but the trap drums, especially in use of 808s and more trippy sounds, will definitely continue. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree with that. The post-metal of ISIS, Neurosis, and company is the best that the genre produced in the late 1990s and first decade of the 2000s. I disagree. Melodic death metal is definitely the best. That's not to say these bands aren't good, but I think melodic death metal is the best. Why no one ever talks about Tommy Iommi's guitar riffs? Brother.
Double bogey.
Black Sabbath is like all riffs. All riffs, and then you just have Dio's vocals on like 3 albums. That's what it is. It's not Ozzy Osbourne singing that makes those albums. It's the riffs. The L take, I don't know what you mean. That you put choke on it in B tier. Sorry, brother. That's just what I was feeling at the time. So L take on you. It's staying in B tier. I'm sorry. Christ Illusion is Slayer's best album, and I vehemently stand by it. I don't know, bro. Is it beating South of Heaven? I don't think so. I will say I do like the cover art quite a bit. Very cool cover art. What? Why is Days of Our Steelers in here? Whatever. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Could be. I'm definitely a South of Heaven fan, and I haven't listened to this album pretty much since it came out back in 2006. I think I was 12, 13 years old. Yeah, I don't know. Disagree. I like South of Heaven better. Wood is a better material. Brother. Fun fact, wood is one of the most rare building materials in the universe. Think about that. Aletta 101 with Ouija profile picture. Hating a band for being popular is just as idiotic as ignoring a band for being underground. You can't judge a band's music based on a number, no matter how big or small that number is. Yeah, I agree. I've seen a lot of comments lately on some Facebook groups saying, you know, death is just overrated. Well, they're getting more popular because people are sort of recognizing the popularity of them. Same with Alice in Chains. There's sort of like a revival of these kind of 2 bands going on. And while I definitely agree, if a band has, you know, a lot of listeners, it definitely is some sort of social proof that what they're creating is actually good. You know, that's not to say that your local band who's selling 20 tickets to a show on a Wednesday night doesn't have some great music, of course, right? But social proof exists for a reason, and we are social creatures. If lots of people are listening to some stuff, chances are there does have some merit. So I'm going to agree with the first part. Hating a band for being popular is just as idiotic as ignoring a band for being underground, but you absolutely can judge a band's music based on a number. At least initially, right? It should give you a little bit of an indication if it's good or bad. Cybreed was ahead of their time when it comes to metal, and no one talks about them enough. Cybreed, okay, I'm interested. Never heard of them. Brother, 1.1 million views? What do you mean no one talks about them? All right, I'm gonna listen to this whole thing, but I'll probably just have to edit it out because I don't want to get copyright ganked. All right, yeah. So this came out in what 2004. So right off the bat, you know, I could definitely hear. I think what he's talking about is sort of influential to Gent, right? A lot of textures going on in the background here. You know, even like the cover art, right? I could definitely see this being a cover art for a Gent band. But yeah, so far I could definitely see what you're saying. Yeah, again, like, you know, they have put some clean vocals in here. Very cool. This is sounding pretty cool. I'm liking this quite a bit. You know, I could definitely hear what you're talking about and what these comments are talking about for 2004. You know, it's not like quite Gent, but they're, you know, it's a little bit more groove metal, but definitely, you know, kind of moving towards that sound. A little bit more Meshuggah-ish. Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Yeah, I will agree with you. W take. That was great. But, you know, 2004, right, we had Sixth. They were out at this time too, right? When was Sixth? When did Sixth come out? I think they were right around there too, right? Yeah, so they were, you know, 2003. What about Textures? When was Textures a band? Right, I think Polaris came out, what was this, 2005 or something like that? I think it came out. Yeah, this is also 2004, and I think it's a great riff. Like, this riff slaps. Sort of has, you know, not the sort of modern production you would expect. Right, but then you get to this part here. Like, tell me this didn't inspire every Tesseract, every Structures, you know, like, listen to this. Every Volumes track. Yeah, there's a lot of proto-gent out there that I think people are sort of rediscovering and coming back. That might be a good video. If that's a good idea, leave that in the comments. Subgenres of punk such as grindcore and crust punk, and especially hardcore, have been more metal than punk for a good 25 years. Yeah, there are still hardcore bands that sound punk, but most of what is considered punk in the last decades has been somewhat influenced by New York hardcore, which is very metal-based. Yes, I do agree with this a lot. You know, a lot of hardcore bands that are coming out now just sound sort of like old school death metal with different vocals, right? So definitely agree with this. I'd say the distinction is more kind of culture wise rather than sonic aesthetic, if that makes any sense to you. But by and large part, you know, these genres are pretty, you know, they're pretty mixed up at this point, right? They're pretty combined. So I definitely agree. This is a W take. 9 and 10 string guitars are underrated. I tend to agree. I think a lot of 9 and 10 string guitars, you know, 9 and 10, probably a little bit excessive, you know, but if you can play other stuff rather than just, you know, O's and 1s on your 9 and 10 string and 8 string guitars, there are a lot of people who can use the extended ranges for good rather than just, you know, open note chugging gent stuff, right? I think Steve Vai on a 7 string originally intended it to have like an extra high string, right? So if you can extend your range in any way, it just opens up more musical possibilities. So I definitely agree with you. And then this guy here below him, Cregan's7781, says gent is an overhated genre. It gets shit on way too much. I definitely agree. This is a W take. This, you know, gent is sort of taking the place of, you know, sort of what metalcore, you know, like All That Remains, Kill Switch Engage kind of stuff was, you know, that's almost 20 years old at this point, whereas most gent is, you know, less than 10 years old. So it kind of comes in cycles of hating stuff. So give it another 10 years or so, and I'm sure gent will have its comeback moment in the sun as well. Vard killed Euronymous on self-defense. Got no comment on this. Maybe. Sure. A King V-shaped guitar is all you need, and Lars isn't a bad drummer. Lars is definitely a really good drummer in the 80s. I think he's just kind of phoning it in now. I love V-shaped guitars, the way they look. I do not like the way they sit in my lap when I play them. Standing up is okay. If you want to see a guitar-shaped tier list, leave that in the comments. I saw this one earlier, so I'll reply to this one. From Lightning Monkey 7674. New school metal is far better and creative than almost all the stuff before it, but most people can't let go of the past or even try to give new bands a chance. The 2020s so far has been one of the best decades for metal/heavy music yet. Can't wait to see your video. You're quickly becoming one of my favorite YouTubers. See, if you want to get your comment in one of my videos, that's where you gotta butter me up. 22 replies, 14 likes, and I definitely agree. Despite the fact that, you know, I talk about a lot of old 80s and 90s albums, a lot, pretty much exclusively on my channel, and the reason why is because these are the videos that gets views. If I talk about, say, you know, a new Spirit Box song, or even like Periphery, you know, Periphery might be one of the bigger bands, these videos are not going to get like a quarter of the views as if I make a video on Megadeth's Rest in Peace, which I also love, like, don't get me wrong. But I totally agree, there is just so much variety. I almost feel like maybe it's a case of the paralyzation of choice or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but when you have so many choices to go through, like, how do you even pick which band or song to like invest your time in, I guess, if you know what I mean, right? You know, every year how much music and how much metal gets listened to, whereas stuff from the 80s and 90s has pretty much already been, you know, filtered by time and through people's opinions to show you what the actual good stuff is. Rather than new stuff coming in 2023, you kind of have to do the hard work yourself. So I can definitely see why a lot of people are sort of stuck in the 80s and 90s and continue listening to this stuff. But I definitely agree. So much good stuff coming out. You know, I love it. It's just sadly not that popular, and there's so much of a, you know, divergence and diversity of sound and subgenres and stuff like that, that it kind of just gets, I think it's just a little bit too overwhelming for a lot of people. And not only that, but a lot of these people just like their thrash metal, and, you know, thrash metal, definitely agree. Thank you for commenting on my videos, my man. Let's see, let me check out your channel here. I'm gonna hit you with the subscribe back. The greatest channel yet, Lightning Monkey 7. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I'll do another one on the rest of these there. Thanks for watching, comment. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, cheers. Thank you.